Becky. I wanted to share my story because I know that my one purpose in life is to touch another life. And this is my story of forgiveness, self-love, and true grace. When I was pregnant with my daughter, around when I was like 6-7 months, my husband and I decided to take a break in a sense. We were going through a really rough patch, and it was just a lot going on. I became very depressed. I felt very worthless. I felt I felt hideous with myself. I didn't like myself, and it was so hard to continue this pregnancy for me. And I was just always questioning God, like, why am I going through this? Why do I feel this way? Why is my marriage going through this? And so many thoughts came to my head, and it became so hard to continue each and every day. And that's when I started seeking God more, because I got to the point where it was like, I had someone tell me, your daughter feels everything you feel. And that hit me hard, because I didn't want my daughter to feel the hurt I was feeling. I didn't want her to feel worthless. I wanted to eventually raise my daughter to know that she was everything she could be, that she was going to be perfect, beautiful, loved, and so worthy of anything she was capable of doing. And that kind of pushed me to think, well, how can I get my self-esteem back up, and how can I find happiness again? And I had someone tell me, look at yourself in the mirror and find that one good thing about yourself, and tell yourself every single day until you're comfortable with that part of yourself. And it started with my smile, and it was like, I love my smile's beautiful. I had to think to myself, like, what else? Like, this isn't working. And through everything that I was going through in my marriage, it was really hard to really focus on my happiness when my husband and I were not doing really well together. And it was one of those things where I was constantly in a battle, and I had to rely on God fully, because I knew that I didn't want my daughter feeling this way. I didn't want her to ever have any feeling of rejection from her father or anything like that. So I really relied on God, and I told God, like, if you get me through this, like, help me get through this. I will take the first step, but I need you to get me through this. And I have never been so close to God since then. You know, like, I have that strong feeling, like, connection with God, but it's that feeling that you don't belong, or you're not worth anything, that really made me realize, like, this is not how life should be. I was 22 years old. I did not need to feel like this is it. I didn't need anything else. So I started learning what self-love really means, and I learned that happiness really only comes from myself and from God. And it was such a hard process, and I feel like I want others to not have to go through such a long process. If I can tell people, like, just do that one thing, just look at yourself in the mirror and find that one good thing about yourself, I feel like that alone, it really does make a big difference. And once I started loving myself was when I could truly understand that I couldn't love anyone else unless I loved myself. And it was really hard. It was months and months of trying and fighting for my marriage, and it was between the hospital visits with my daughter and having her. And once I saw the love that my husband had for my daughter was when I realized, like, this is how God feels for me. And I would never want my daughter hurting, and that made me realize, like, God doesn't want me to feel like this. God wants me really to love. And loving myself was the best thing I could ever do. And it was the hardest thing I could ever do, because I always had that self-consciousness where it was like, this person looks better than me, this person looks better than me, they are prettier, they're skinnier, and it's not the way to live. But I ended up doing the Love Dare challenge with my husband, and that really helped. I would really recommend it. But also the fact that I learned that self-love, and I found that like respect and love for myself, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I am today. My husband and I are so amazing, and honestly, I don't regret anything I've been through, because I know my story needs to get told. I know that I've always known that I wasn't going through this for nothing, and I think that's the only comfort I really had, with everything was that I know how strong it made me and my husband. I know how much love I could actually give my daughter because I learned to love myself first. And my connection and relationship with God is really what keeps us all together. And I want to just give that inspiration or motivation to someone else to really take that and be like, you know what, I need to love myself. I can't love my kids, I can't love my husband, can't love my wife, my family, if I don't love myself first. It's one of those things where it's like Job, when everything was taken away from him, and he still trusted God. I had to trust God because I felt like I had nothing. I was literally questioning absolutely everything, but I realized questioning him was not going to get me anywhere. I just had to continue to have faith that everything was going to work out. And having people around me who kept me going, who kept me so strong, that really was what kept me together. And if you have those people around you, whether you do or you don't, try to find that one person, you know. And what I love about Her Hope Arises is that you find such a strong group of people who will always be willing to help you, who are always be willing to give you the time of day to just listen to you. And that's why I want to share my story with you guys, because if my story can touch one life, I think that's really all that matters, and I will feel like my purpose in life is done. So yeah, this is my story. Her Hope Arises is on the move. This is Be Real, Be You, and we'll see you soon.